Okay. Looking at short-run profit maximization, and this is really the big skill here for chapters 8. Well, really 8, 9, and 10 that we're going to look at here. So, a couple concepts: the idea of marginal revenue, average revenue, and price when it comes to perfect competition. Remember that we said that the demand curve that a single firm faces is horizontal at the market price. This means that as they supply more of a good or service, it is not going to change the market price. The market price is going to remain the same the entire way until it's not, but it won't be as a result of this individual firm selling. So what that's going to mean for our marginal revenue, average revenue, it is all going to be equal to that price. So remember, marginal revenue is the change in total revenue divided by the change in output. This in other market structures will change because as firms supply more, it influences market price, and the market price changes. In perfect competition, that doesn't happen. So our price, whatever that is, in the example we used before was $5. Our marginal revenue, so the amount that we get by selling an additional unit of a good, is going to be the same. It's going to be $5. And then no matter how many that we sell, if we sell 10, right? Figure our average revenue is you take the total output, total quantity sold, divided by the price. So if we sell 10, right, our average revenue divided by the price is going to be 5. If we sell 100, our average revenue is going to be 5. Whatever that price is, our average revenue and our marginal revenue are going to be the same. Okay? Now this holds true for perfect competition. What we need to then identify is our marginal costs, because that becomes then the real issue. We can't control price. We're a price taker, but we can control output, and that output, that level that we select, is going to be based on our marginal costs. So if we look at how or where we maximize economic profit, in perfectly competitive markets, or a perfectly competitive firm is going to increase production as long as each additional unit adds more to total revenue than it does to total cost. So what that means is, remember, additional unit means marginal. As long as marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, we expand output. And we stop before marginal cost becomes greater than marginal revenue. So if you think of the golden rule of business, it's marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. At that point where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, that is where profit will be maximized. And that holds true for all firms, all industries. That's what they call it, the golden rule of business. Expand output as marginal revenue, right? If marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, you expand until marginal cost starts to exceed marginal revenue. And the point where they're equal is where profit will be maximized. So let's try to look at a quick question here. Here's a perfect competition practice problem that will help you, I would think, with what you have to do on your assignment. So we've got a bunch of things that we got to figure out here. So if you look at the information, it says the table here shows total revenue and cost for a perfectly competitive firm. And the firm is a price taker, and it can sell each unit for a market price of 50. So there's that market price that's been established. And that's going to be the same. We can sell as many units as we want. So our average revenue, our marginal revenue, right, is always going to be equal to price, which is 50. So we can come over here and put our marginal revenue, once we know what the market price is, and at every output it's going to be 50. All right, and we'll kind of explain why that's important to understand and understand later. So if we go through and fill this out, if you look at total revenue, we can fill that one in. Remember, our price is 50, so if we sell 1, it's going to be 50. If we sell 2 at 50, it'll be 100, 3 of 50, 150, and you can see 200 and 250, and you can go through. So each unit we sell divided by the change in quantity, that's how we get that marginal revenue. And that's always in perfect competition going to be equal to market price. So now we come over and we got a few more things that we have to kind of fill out here. Average total cost. Remember, average total cost is we just take our total cost and divide it by the quantity. That's how you get an average. Okay, so here we have 50 and we divide that by 0. We have 0. That's going to give us a average total cost. You can't have an average if you don't have any output yet. So total cost in the second one. Okay, we just take our total cost divided by the quantity of 1. Our average then is going to be 60. Right? Average total cost. Okay, so here's total cost 60 divided by 1. Here we take 90 and we divide that by 2. Gives us our 45. 90, 140. All right, we divide that by 3. That gives us 46.66. Total cost is 200. Divide that by 4. 50. 280 divided by 5. 280 divided by 5 gives us 56. So you can see our average cost curve would look something. Start at 60 and it would fall and hit 45, and then it starts to increase, and we have something that looks like that if this were graphed out. Just kind of give you an idea what that average cost curve would look like. Average variable cost. This is variable cost divided by the quantity, finding that average again. Okay, so how do we know the difference between variable and fixed? I'll do fixed cost divided by the quantity. Okay, that's how we find the average. And you can tell right away from these problems, and you'll start to see these. How do I figure out what my fixed and variable are? Well, that's the difference, right? You add the two together, that gives me total. Fixed plus variable equals our total. Our total cost here with nothing produced, with no variable costs, right, is 50. So we know our fixed costs are going to be 50, and they'll stay fixed throughout. So to find the average fixed cost, we just take the level that we know to be 50 and divide it by the quantity. So here 50 divided by 1 is 50. That's our average. Okay, 50 divided by 2, average cost 25. So our fixed costs are cut in half because now they're spread out over 2 goods. Right? We divide that by 3. That's 16. 50 divided by 4. 12.5, and then 50 divided by 5 obviously is 10. And the more we produce, the more our average fixed costs will fall and approach 0. Right? And we say that fixed costs will approach 0, but they will never hit, because the more you produce, right, the smaller that average will be, but it will never hit 0. Okay, so we have our average fixed costs. Now we got to figure out our average variable. So the difference between how we figure out our variable cost is we got to find, we can just put those in over here maybe, the difference between our total and, because we know all of our totals, and our fixed. So here, total cost is 60. We know 50 of that is fixed, so we have 10 variable costs. So we take 10 and we divide it by 1, because that's our output, gives us an average of 10. Come down here, our total is 90. Right? Total is 90. We know that 50 of that is fixed, so we have 40 left. So we take 40 divided by 2 gives us an average of 20. Here we've got 140, so we know that 50 of that is fixed still. We have 90 left over. 90 divided by 3 gives us 30. Here we've got 200, which we know 150 is variable. We have 50 fixed, so 150 divided by 4, 37.5. That's 150 divided by 4. And here we've got 280, of which 50 is fixed. We have 230 left over. 230 divided by 5. That's our quantity. That gives us 46. So where's your average variable cost? Now, the important piece here for profit maximization, because that's what it's asking you, is what is the firm's marginal revenue? We figured that out already, right? On all perfect competitions, when you see this, what is firm's marginal revenue? What is its average revenue? It's always going to be equal to price. So in this situation, marginal revenue is equal to $50. Okay. Based on the revenue and cost above, what will be the firm's profit maximizing level of output? Well, now we got to figure out, remember golden rule, marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So we got to go fill out these marginal costs to find out what was going to be the most profitable level. Okay, so that's letter C here. So then we got to figure marginal cost, which is change, right, in total cost divided by change in quantity. So here's our total cost. Okay, total cost from 0, okay, 0 quantity, we had 50, and we produced 1, we have 60. So that difference in total cost is 10. We divide that by quantity, that gives us the marginal cost of 10. We go from 60 to 90, that's 30. Okay, 30 divided by a change in quantity, which is always going to be 1. So that's 30. Okay, we go from 90 to 140, that's a change in total cost is 50 divided by the change in quantity, which is 1. So there's 50. Oh, marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost at this output. And we'll just figure out the last ones we need to do it. Change in total cost is 60 divided by 1. And change in total cost is 80 divided by 1. This would be 80. So same thing, our marginal costs here, right, are increasing. And here is the output where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So based on the revenues and costs, what will be the firm's profit maximizing level output? That would be at 3 units. And this is what will the firm's profit be at this level of output? Well, if it's making 3, okay, if it's making 3, sells them at 50 each, that's $150 of total revenue. All right, its total costs are 140. Profit is going to be, right, the difference between total revenue and total cost is 10. So that's a lot at you, but those are really the skills you need to use for your from just about all of your assignments. Focusing on marginal revenue, being able to determine that, and then marginal cost, and then seeing the difference. Next video, I'm going to talk about shutdown, increasing output, decreasing output.